Oh boy. Have you ever seen a movie that's just so bad that and it's just bad and you didn't really want to see it, but now that you have, you kind of have to talk about it? Well, I had a similar situation like that. I recently watched a movie from 2011 called Mars Needs Moms. Mm, new flavor. So Mars Needs Moms is a movie from 2011 produced by Disney and Pixar. Its budget was about $150 million. Keep that in mind. You'd think 150 million, the movie would be pretty good, right? No. Anyway, the story's about a young boy named Milo who really, really doesn't like his mom. That's pretty much it. He just doesn't like that she's always on to him and he has to do whatever she tells him. And so he gets really, really upset. And then he says something that I don't recommend you say this to your mom, but it's like really bad.
My life would be so much better if I didn't have a mom at all.
So after he says that, she cries, of course, because who would say that to their mom? And then in the middle of the night, he decides, you know what? I want to go apologize to my mom. And that's when he sees a strange light coming from his mom's room. And then he runs outside, and there's just a whole spaceship in his backyard, and we're supposed to be okay with this. And like, none of the neighbors see it, and they don't care about it. And so we're just like, okay, spaceship, his mom's abducted. He climbs into a part of the ship, and now he's going to Mars, just like that. Everything's normal. After he leaves the spaceship, they go on Mars, and it's a really weird planet. It's not like the Mars I know. This one's got like Martians, and that looked really freaky, like really freaky. And so he's in some part on the planet, I don't know, some like control base that the Martians use, and he hears a voice. Ooh, spooky voice that tells him to jump into a garbage chute.
Jump down, shoot number 3.
What? Who's there?
And down the garbage chute he goes and meets the freaks. I don't know what to call these people. They're not normal. That's all I'm gonna say. They're not normal. And they kind of just start like mimicking him. Like he'll like move his arms and they'll be like, wah, wah. It's really stupid and scary. If I were him, I would have run. But he decides to tell them that he wants to find his mom. Okay, how are they gonna help you find your mom? They can't even speak English. So now is probably a good time to let you know what is actually going on, because most of you are probably really confused right now. So the whole point of the movie is pretty much, I mean, it says it in the title, Mars Needs Moms. So what they're doing is they take the moms from Earth who are like really good at disciplining their children. That's why they steal Milo's mom. And they're like putting like a big needle in the back of their head when the sun rises, and they're sucking out the momness out of them and programming it into the Martian nanny robots that have to nanny the Martian children, so that way the Martian children are really disciplined. And I guess they don't have parents of their own. I don't know. Horrible plot, by the way. Just bear with me. So after Milo has the whole thing with the Martians that are mocking him, he finally finds the person who he heard from the garbage chute, and we meet our very next character, Gribble. I said that right. Gribble. And Gribble is a human just like Milo, except he's probably in his mid 30s and he's kind of fat. And it doesn't look like he's living a good life. But hey, he's having fun, so who knows? I don't know. Maybe he's just living the dream. I don't know. So in Gribble's house, they have like a bunch of weird technology, and he can see like what the Martians are doing all throughout the island. And so Milo's like, "Hey, what's up with my mom? I wonder if you can find her." And he sees that she's strapped down to a bed, and they're about to stick a needle in her brain to suck out the momness out of her. So he's like, he keeps freaking out. He's like, Gribble, tell me what they're doing with my mom. And Gribble's not telling him. So what do you think Milo does to get the answer out of him?
Gribble, tell me, please!
System overload! System overload!
Tell me! Tell me!
That's right, he twists his nipples. So Milo does a sneaky little purple nurple trick and squeezes Gribble's nipples and starts twisting them so he can get an answer out of him. And so we finally get the movie title drop. And it is one of the worst title drops ever.
Fact is, Mars needs moms.
And that's it. That's the movie, guys. So I'm gonna fast forward a little bit here because I don't want to tell you like everything, but pretty much Milo and Gribble come up with a plan to try to save Milo's mom, and Milo like disguises as a Martian and sneaks onto their home base and is just walking around and looking for stuff. And we're introduced to another character, a really weird Martian girl who's obsessed with painting flowers. We don't learn much about this new character except for the fact that she saves Milo, so she's like kind of okay with there just being like human beings on Mars. So she's fine with that. But she's still a freaky Martian person, so I told you this movie is horrible. So just please bear with me. So in the midst of this whole thing, Gribble gets captured by our antagonist, the supervisor. And it's just this really old Martian lady who's a control freak. And just, she's the one in charge of taking all the moms, actually. So she's the bad guy. She actually just orders a firing squad and is about to just kill Gribble in front of all the Martians. So that's that. And then we get a stupid scene where, Gribble is saved by the Martian girl and Milo's there. And so at this point, you're probably wondering, what's up with Gribble? He's a human being on Mars. Why is he there? Did he go there himself? Is he stuck there? This is where we finally get a little bit of backstory on Gribble.
Not fair is when a bunch of scary aliens take your mama, your only parent, away from you in the middle of the night. Not fair is when you follow them and you sneak onto their ship and you search, but you can't find her. And then you see her. They got your mama strapped into some kind of machine.
So we learned that Gribble was just like Milo. And his mom was abducted by these Martians, and he also tried to save her by going on the spaceship. Except Gribble watched his mom get unmommed and a big needle go into her brain, and then she died. So Gribble is determined to not let that happen again, and he wants to help Milo save his mom. So finally, our three characters, Milo, Gribble, and the Martian, are going to help find Milo's mom and save her from being killed. But in the midst of this, there's a really weird love story between Gribble and the Martian girl. Like, it's just weird. Like, he can't go 5 seconds without blushing, and she's like, "Ooh, I like the colors on your face."
I think that you're amazing.
It's not good. Not good. So they make it to the main part of the planet where Milo's mom is being killed, pretty much, and he decides and he saves her, almost. He takes her out of the place where she's gonna get killed, but realizes that he needs a helmet for them to breathe because they're on Mars, and they can't really breathe on the planet. And so finally, Milo's mom wakes up for the first time since she got abducted. And this is possibly the worst scream I've ever heard in general. Like, I get you're on Mars, you're not on Earth. It's probably really scary, but when you scream like this,
No! Mom! 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 Mom, listen!
I just want to kill you when you scream like that. Please don't ever do that. Ever. Also, I forgot to mention this earlier, but the animation in the movie is just horrifying. Like, it just looks like a PS2 video game, but it's just like so unnatural and so horrifying. Like, I'm pretty sure if I watched this movie when I was like 5 years old, I definitely would have had nightmares about this, without a doubt. It's just like the way they move. It's like, hi, mom, I want to save my mom. I, I hate it. I hate everything about it. It's the worst. I hate it. So Milo decides to grab two helmets, one for him and one for his mom, and they're going to make it to the spaceship that the Martian girl is flying, so that way they can go back to Earth and be safe. But in the midst of this, the supervisor comes out with this big gun, and she shoots, bang, and Milo's helmet breaks. He's gonna die. He's just not breathing. I don't know. So then his mom comes to the rescue and takes the broken helmet off his head, and then she takes off her own helmet, puts it on her son, and snaps it so he can't take it off his head, so he can't, like, save her. So now she's gonna die. Like, that's just because there's no helmet. And we're just supposed to accept this and be fine with it? I get his mom's dying and everything. I couldn't help but laugh at this part, though.
Mommy, you have to come home with me. You have to come home with me. You're my mom.
It is really emotional. Like, his mom's dying, but he's just like, "Oh, mommy, you have to come home with me. You're my mom. You're my mom." Oh yeah. Also, like, all the Martians are just watching this, like, on the big screen, like it's like a football game or something, and they're just, someone go out there and save her, for goodness sake. She's dying, and they're just like, "Oh, well, that's really cool. Whoa." So now comes the climax of the movie. And remember what I said about earlier, Gribble's whole backstory. He was going to go save his mom, so he had his helmet, he had a backup helmet and everything. And then he watched his mom die, so he dropped the helmet, and it got buried in the sand. But somehow, like, I don't know, 20 years later, he remembers exactly where the helmet is, and he's just like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna dig it up and just throw it on her head," as if it still works too. Like, how is that not broken, and how did he not lose it? Like, how did he know exactly where it was? That's just impressive. That's why Gribble's the GOAT. Oh, also, I forgot to mention, but Gribble's real name is George Ribble. He just shortened it to Gribble, which I think is pretty cool. I like the name Gribble. Maybe I'll name my kid Gribble when I'm older.
Milo, Gribble, I've got the ship under control.
No, you don't. You do not have the ship under control. You just destroyed a, what was that, a building or something? You just lied to them. You said you had it under control, and then you just blew up some high-piece technology, probably worth millions of dollars. So then the weird Martian girl. Did I just voice crack? So then the weird Martian girl tries to convince everybody that, Martians used to be normal, and you used to, like, have families and everything. So she, like, pulls up this picture of a mom Martian, a dad Martian, and a kid Martian, and she's like, "Look, everybody, we used to be normal." And then all of a sudden, everybody turns on the supervisor, and they're like, "Wait a minute, we want to have families. We don't want to steal Earth moms." And then these weird Martian agents finally take the supervisor away, and it's unclear if they just, like, threw her in jail or they killed her or whatever, but I don't know. Like, I'm happy with that. I hated the supervisor from the start. She looked awful and scary, and her elbows poke out like 4 miles. It's disgusting. So now we're back to Earth, and the question is pitched. Do you think Gribble will stay with the freaky Martian girl on Mars, or go back to Earth where he's from, like it's just his home? And he decides he wants to stick with the freaky Martian girl because he's in love with her, and we're just supposed to accept that. That's just normal. So, yeah, Gribble goes home. Milo and his mom go back to their house, and their dad comes home, and they decide not to tell him about everything. Um, except for Milo has like this incinerator gun, and he takes out the trash and he just blows it. He like incinerates the trash on the front porch, and he's like his parents didn't notice, and he's just like, yeah, it's fine if I just leave a burnt pile of ashes on the porch. They're not gonna suspect a thing. And that's the whole movie. There's Mars Needs Moms for you. So I told you earlier that the budget for this movie was $150 million for a Disney movie. Any guesses on how much money the movie actually made in box office? It lost $111 million. Maybe one of the biggest flops in Disney history was Mars Needs Moms, and I can see why. This movie was just horrible. Horrible plot, scary animation. We really have like no sympathy for the characters. Um, and overall, just why? Why would you make a movie about how a planet ruled by Martians needs human moms, or I guess their human moms' momness, like their brain matter, to program a nanny bot to take care of Martian kids? It's horrible. I hate it. I hated everything about the movie. So now for a little segment of the show I like to call the Billy Bar. That's a copyrighted name. Nobody else can use that. It's my thing. It's what I'm going to use to rate all of these bad movies. The way the Billy Bar works is it's supposed to favor movies that are so bad that they're actually good. But for movies like Mars Needs Moms, where they're just so bad they're bad, you're going to get a lower score. But for movies that are bad and good at the same time, you're going to get a higher score. So I have 5 categories, and I'm going to grade the whole movie through these 5 categories out of 10 points for each. So the first one for Mars Needs Moms is comedy. I don't think I laughed once during this movie, except for maybe when he pinched Gribbles' nipples and started twisting it. Gribbles nibbles. Gribbles nipples? Gribbles nibbles. He twists them. So for that, I'm going to give them a 1. The next category is effort. And this is just saying, like, for movies that put in a lot of effort and it turned out to be really bad, that's going to be your lower score. For movies that didn't put in much effort and they ended up being like so bad that they were actually funny, that's going to be the higher score. Because Mars Needs Moms had a $150 million budget and they only made $39 million on the movie, I'm going to be giving a 0 for the effort. This was awful. Horrible. Like, they tried way too hard, spent way too much money. The animation was really creepy and unnatural, looked like a PS2 video game, and it was overall just bad. Just bad. The third category is called cursed visuals. What I'm picturing here is certain parts of the movie or like certain animations or I guess imagery that just are like horrifying. Like so blatantly bad. So that'll be your higher score, is like something awful. The lower score will just be like, your average Joe movie. For this, I'm gonna give them a 5 because most of the movie was fine. I mean, you had Milo's mom, his dad, Gribble, just normal human beings. But then you had these freaky, freaky Martian people that I hated them, especially the supervisor and her bony elbows that stuck out so far. Ugh. Tongue blue? What the? How did that make my tongue blue? Ugh. Ugh. The fourth category is watchability, which is just like, would you watch this movie with your friends just to get a good laugh out of it? No, no, I wouldn't. I I'm gonna give another 0. I just can't. I hope I never watch this movie again. And the final category is what I call the fever dream score. So movies that are just so out there will receive a higher point. Movies that are just like, your average Joe movie will be on the lower end. I'm gonna give Mars Needs Moms an 8. This movie had the weirdest plot I think I've ever heard of. Why why are they sucking the momness out of moms? And then why do the Martian babies need nanny bots? And why does Gribble fall in love with this thing? What is that? What is that? That's disgusting. So yeah. So your total score for Mars Needs Moms on the Billy Bar is a 14. Not good. I'm going to be reviewing more movies in the future, so hopefully we can get some better ones, something higher on the Billy Bar. Maybe we'll get something lower just because it's like so bad. Like so bad. Alright, well, thanks for watching. Hopefully I'll see you guys soon. Peace.